And my agent called and said, "You're not going to believe this. Spielberg wants to meet with you. He's shooting The Terminal out in the desert. You got to go tomorrow for lunch to meet with him." And I said, what's it about? Do we know? "I'm right on it. I'm right on it right now. I'm trying to find out what it is. You know him, he has like 4 projects on the go. Believe me, I'll get to the bottom of what it is." So I'm like, shit, Spielberg wants to meet me. That is so cool. Great, okay, I'll go and have lunch with him in the desert. That sounds great. So the next day, you know, we got an idea. We'd sort of narrowed it down to 3 or 4 things that he was working on. One was the Abe Lincoln project. The other one was obviously Indiana Jones 4, and then there was a couple of others, and one of them was something to do with the Munich Olympics, but it was a big secret. No one really knew any details. So that's all I knew. Went to the set of The Terminal where he was filming with Tom Hanks and met him for lunch. And was so nervous, obviously. Sitting down, and he's got a cigar in one hand and some edamame in the other, and he's got his cap on, and there is Tom Hanks's, you know, streamliner trailer, and there's this huge set, and he starts telling me this story about the Munich Olympics, which luckily for me I was familiar with, because when Chopper went to Telluride, Kevin MacDonald was there with One Day in September, the documentary, and I'd seen it and had read a couple of books about it. I'm thinking, great that he's taken the time out to tell me all about these athletes and this moment in time, and the sushi's good, and I wouldn't mind one of those cigars, and then he said, "So, Eric, I would love you to play this character of Avner. I think you'd make a great Avner. I think you're the right guy for it. I really do. I mean, I think you're the right person. I've seen your work, and I would really love you to play the character of Avner." And I sat there, and that was probably the most surreal moment of my life, because then I finished the meeting. I hopped in the rental car, and I was driving back to LA. And I called my agent and I said, "John," I said, I think he wants me to be in his film." "You're kidding me. You're kidding me. What do you mean? Did he actually offer you the role? Did he actually say, tell me like exactly what he said, word for word, tell me what he said." And I said, "He said he wanted me to play this guy called Avner." Pause. "He said that? He literally said he wants you to play the role of Avner? Are you sure that's what he said?" And I was just, I couldn't believe it. I was like, "I think so. You better call his office. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. For Christ's sake, don't quote me on it. I think that's what he was getting at. I think that's what he said. But okay, here's what I know for sure. He definitely wants me in the film somewhere. I don't know if it's one of the athletes or whether it's one of the Israeli. I have no idea. But he said something about a guy called Avner. That's all I can tell you. You know, so then he made a couple of calls, obviously, and then called me back the next day and said he wants you to play this role,
which just happens to be the lead.
Which just happens to be the lead, exactly. Yeah. So it was just one of those ridiculous moments in your life, and I've never forgotten it.
Any truth in the story that what Spielberg had seen in you was the vulnerability that you showed in The Hulk?
He did mention it to me. He said he'd seen me in other films, but he said that was the one that for him had convinced him to cast me, and I learnt a very good lesson there and then. And I do enjoy passing that on to people, because I think it's an important note to know that even someone like Spielberg, it may not be what you do in Chopper, it may not be what you do in Black Hawk Down, it may not be what you do in a movie like Troy, it may be what you do in a movie like The Hulk. That for him the penny drops and he makes some kind of connection, whether it be a spiritual or emotional or visual connection as a director, and goes, "He's my guy." And you know, for every person that says to me, why'd you do a comic book movie? Why'd you do The Hulk? Well, I know for a fact, had I not have done The Hulk, that I would not have been in Munich, and I would not have been given a role that, you know, I will take to my grave as being one of the greatest experiences of my life. So
yeah, I never forgot that when I was quite shocked, and I thought, wow, there's a really important lesson in that any time you're on camera, you don't know who's watching, and you don't know for what purpose.